Previously, we discussed what is continuous professional development, why it is important, why it is necessary for as a IT professional to continuously learning new skills. Today, we will learn what is the importance of formally recording the CPD activity, and after that, we will take a look on different factors that contributes to successful business communication. We learn different kinds of communication here, and what are the communication skills that are required for a successful business communication. We discussed that CPD is a practice that helps an individual to maintain or enhance their professional skills so that they can be up to date in their field. For example, if you are currently working as a software engineer, then it is your duty to continuously learn something new, the new skills, the trending topics of IT, so that you should be aware or you can upgrade your skills. So it can be both for your personal aspirations and organizational needs. So that's why we need to be continuously professionally learn their skills. So why it is important to record your progress? So the first one is the CPD log. It means to record all your activities, such as what kind of courses you are taking, what workshops you are taking, what seminars you are attending, the dates and the learning outcomes. Now, for example, you are a software developer and you work at a Python workshop. Here you reflect how you learn your skills, what is the efficiency of your code, just to mark yourself. For example, most of us as a student, what we do, we create a to-do list for ourselves. Different applications are there that we write our daily tasks that our daily routine tasks that today I have to perform this, I have to do this. Uh, then we also mark at the end of the day that we have done this. So CPD log is similar that you set a goal that within 2 months I have to learn Python, and on daily basis you record your progress. Today I have covered this portion. I have learned the basics. Secondly, I have learned the libraries and so on. This is how you record your progress. Now, why it is beneficial? So you will understand that where I am standing right, what skills I have learned, and what are the things that are left to accomplish. And what if I learn this specific language or course, then how it will be beneficial for myself or for my future. Then copies of certificate. So you remember if you have take any course or certification online, at the end of the course, you got a certificate of that training, right? You receive certificate as a proof. So so that in you can add that courses or certificates in your resume if you want to apply somewhere into a good IT company. So these certifications or the continuous learning that you learned or the uh, languages you learned will be used as a proof so that courses can be the plus point for yourself to get hired by that company. Like if you are a network engineer, then you can collect different certificates from CASO certification program. Or if you are a software developer, you want to be, then you take different online courses from Udemy, or there are other platforms like Mathwork or multiple are there that offer different certifications at the end of the course. and you record that certification and you can also add them in your resume. Now, in the previous lecture, we discussed about informal training and formal training. Now, in informal training, we have different sessions like uh, on the job learning, like you earn different certification experience. Like if we take an example here, project manager may document feedback received from different project uh, clients, where they need to improve their team communication, their efficiencies. So this is how you can maintain. Then in your continuous learning process, what you do, you meet different practitioners. Now, if we take a common example here, let's suppose you are doing a specific degree, whether it is software engineering or related to IT. You start your internships in your seventh or eighth semester, right? To gain or refine your skills means you start meeting your practitioners who are already doing the practice in that field so that you can gain more professional skills from them. You're also completing your degree. Along with that, you are also learning something. Now, if we talk about medical professionals, they may stay updated with the latest treatments and medical technologies too. CPD means if they are doing the continuous professional development, they can provide the best care for their patients. They will be stay updated with their latest treatments, medical technologies, everything will be. Now, the most important topic of today's lecture is the types of communication. Now, we have here two types of communication. The first one is the verbal, and the second one is the non-verbal communication. In verbal communication, there will be spoken words, whether it will be a face-to-face conversion, it can be a phone call, it can be a video conference, or different spoken interactions. The communication can be written. Now, in verbal communication, we have also have written communication, we have verbal communication, we have non-verbal communication. So let's suppose in verbal communication, we can say that you deliver a speech at the on your convocation day. It can be a type of verbal communication. You have a face-to-face conversion with your stakeholders, or a project manager can give instructions to their team during the meeting, explaining the tasks that they have to perform. So we have different types of verbal communication, like here. So that was the verbal communication, but we must have some verbal communication skills. Whether you are going to apply for a new job, or whether you have an interview, or you want to deliver a speech, or you want to, let's suppose you are working as a project manager, how you will brief your team members. So if you have good communication skills, then you have done your 80%. So these skills are very important. So some important points should be listen before speaking. You should listen to your audience. You should listen to a lecture. For example, if we take the common example here that teachers deliver their lectures, right? And some students listen them carefully. What they are saying to us, what is the main topic of their lecture, and then after listening that, they speak, they question. If they have something in mind, they ask the teacher that what does this point mean and how this means. How they do that question? Because they had listened carefully. This logic is not applied in the terms of lecture, but if you are attending a seminar, or it's a webinar, or even if you are in your office or in a specific meeting, the first point of the good communication skill is to listen carefully. If you listen them, then you will be able to speak. You don't know, let's suppose, for example, you are attending a webinar or a seminar, you start speaking or start questioning that speaker, but you haven't listened to them. You don't know what they have discussed, what they are trying to say us. So miscommunication can also lead to different misunderstanding. So the first point is to listen before you speak. The second is the read and write. Your reading and writing skills should be up to the mark. You must have good reading skills. You must have good writing skills. Writing skills are very important. If you are working in a company or you want to apply for a job, you should know how to write a good email. You should know how to write a technical document. You should know how to convey your message to your subordinates or your project managers through your document or through your email. The third one is talk with an object. If you want to step in the business world or want to get a good job, you should learn that your talk should have a goal. Why you want to communicate with the other person? What is the goal behind that talk? Why I'm needing to communicate with that? Then the eye contact. You should be confident while talking to your interviewer, while talking with your project manager. Then confidence is the key. If you have a good confidence level, you can tackle any interview, you can tackle any presentation or viva, anything. So confidence is very important. Then open mindedness. You should be open to the community. You should explore more. You cannot learn with a narrow mindset. If you open your mind towards the world, learn different aspects what is going on around me, then you can learn multiple things. Then, as mentioned in the above picture, we have four main skills in the verbal communication: listening, speaking, writing, and reading. Speaking and writing must be active because we create our own thoughts in words. If you are if you are speaking something or saying something, your mind should be active. You should know what I am saying or what I am writing. Let's suppose if you're writing, if you appear in your exam or you start writing your paper, if you are not actively writing it or your mind is not active, you will not understand what I am writing. But listening and reading should be best. It should be in such a way that I am receiving some information. So you should be all ears if you are listening something. So that's why you should be actively participate when you are speaking or writing. Your mind should be active, but it should be passive if you are listening to someone or reading something. Okay, so the second type of communication is the non-verbal communication. So you have any idea about the non-verbal communication? You have no idea about that. So non-verbal communication is the language that consists of your body language, your facial expression, your gestures, your posture, your eye contact. So these are some non-verbal communication. Like if you are working as a customer service representative, then you should be confident. You have to maintain a eye contact or you should nodding while listening to a customer, showing that you are attentive and you are engaged in their talk. Is the communication that is through gestures. For example, sometimes if we are uh, taking a lecture or teacher easily point out uh, which students are actively listening or which are through their body language, their postures, their gestures, or their facial expression. Mostly, you might observe that teacher can quickly point out a student that you are not understanding my lecture, you are not actively here in the classroom. How? by the facial expressions we give them. With the help of facial expression, we can understand what the other person is feeling, what the other person wants to convey. If someone face looks dull or gives us some low gestures, we actively uh, say that that person is sad. If someone's eyebrows are lifted high or there are wrinkles between their forehead, then we guess that that person is in anger. So these are different things through facial expression. These that convey us a message. So that is the non-verbal communication. Is the communication through eye contact. If someone is sitting in a posture or like it, they are lean towards the chair or lean against the chair. We said that person is tired and wants some rest. So these are the different expressions through which the other person tries to communicate with us. If someone is very polite with us and giving us good gestures, then we say that that person is in a very good mood. So we have non-verbal body languages, like some of the body languages are here, like ways of talking. If there is a pause or stress on a word that I say that, please pay attention to the lecture like this. It means that I am stressed out or I am angry with the students. That's why, or if I have pointed some students that are not actively listening. So through these ways of talking, we can point out that what the other person is trying to convey us. If a person is untied, through appearance, we can know the other person what they want to convey. Like if a person is untied, then there are possibilities that they are sad or something bad has happened. That's why they are looking dull. Then through head movement, if we nod our head in different directions or in no or yes, we got the answers. Through hand movement, if we wave our hand, it means that we are saying hi or hello to someone. Through eye movements like winking, if we wink our eyes, there's also a sort of communication. Then frowns, as I said, that if someone has frowns, uh, another facial expression that we thought that that person is angry. Then through sounds, there are different kinds of laugh. If someone is laughing through laughs, we also identify that what the other person wants to convey. Like there is a laugh that also uh, shows that someone is criticizing us. There is a positive way to laugh. There is a laugh that is also in a negative way. So through different sounds, we get the message from that person. So these are some non-verbal communication body languages. Now, these are the most important points. Like the first one is the facial expression. So these are some expression that conveys the body language. So can anyone can tell which kind of this expression or gesture is conveying us? What kind of communication is taking place with this image? We can see that person, this hand gesture show that that person want us to stop. We have another emoji with anger with uplifted eyebrows. This expression is showing that this is angry. So these are some non-verbal communication like through facial expressions, through gestures, through hand movements. Now this through these expressions, we can identify that this lady is happy. She's in a good mood. So through body language, we can identify what the other person wants to convey us. Then through movements, through eye contacts, through nodding the head or physical appearance, we can guess what the other person wants to convey us. Now we have 8 components of non-verbal language. The first one is the gesture, means how your hand and body movements express information. For example, if someone has anxiety or someone is stressed out, their hands are shaking or their body is shaking. And through the shaky hand movement, we guess that the other person is some sort of anxiety problem or is stressed out. Through eye contact means how long you hold someone's gaze. Means if someone is staring at you a bit longer with some rare or different expression, we thought that person is angry. So through contact, we can also identify. Then physical distance means how much space you give to others. Then through facial expression, you try to communicate with that other person. The posture now, there are three men here in this image. One is sitting on the chair with a different kind of posture that is conveying us that person is resting on the chair. Or now we have these two. Now, if you notice here with this hand movement, this one, you might notice that this person have low confidence. Why? Because he is folding his hands, whereas this person is very confident. Because the way he is standing or talking, I said that this is a very confident person, whereas and this person is resting on the chair. So through our posture, we can guess the body language or what is that other person wants to convey us. Then appearance means how your style, how your fashion sense is, how your hygienes communicate in that. Then touch, how you use or avoid the physical touch. Then paralanguage means how your non-speech sounds make me. Okay, so these are the 8 components of non-verbal communication that we mostly consider. Then we have another type of communication that any questions till now, let me know. Okay, you have more questions. So we have another type of communication is the visual communication. Means we try to communicate through images, to charts, to graphs. Like if you want to explain your ideas, so you might use visualization, means through images, you create different images or a visual presentation to explain your idea to the other person. Means what you want to say, how you want to say. Okay, let's suppose if it for an example, a marketing team may use infographics to present their key performance indicators. Or if you are working as a web developer, I think in previous courses we discussed different kinds of diagrams, use case diagram, sequence diagram, multiple we discussed, so that we can convey our idea how our final product will look like after the completion. So that was some sort of visual communication, means with the help of diagrams and chart, we are trying to communicate our message like this. So signs. So we have different traffic signs that conveys message. Through posters, we try to convey message. Then logos and brands, then charts, then photographs, packaging designs we have. Then web design, posters. So these are different examples of visual communication, how through images we try to communicate. Through videos. Videos are also a type of visual communication. Then we have another type of communication is the digital communication. Now we know that with the rise of digital technology, with the rise of digital platform, we communicate through social media with different collaborative tools like Zoom or Teams, or we have different social media platforms where we used to communicate with other people, like through Instagram, through Facebook, through Twitter, different through WhatsApp. So these are different digital communication mediums. Then there will be webinars, just like seminars that used to take place in physical places. We have webinars in digital world that where we can connect with different peoples around the globe to that. So these are different types of communication. We discuss verbal communication, we discuss non-verbal communication, we discuss digital communication. Okay. Now the second topic is the range of the factors that are important for a successful business communication. So the first one is the body language. We discussed in non-verbal communication that body language plays a very important. Your body language conveys different clues about what you want to say. Now, in big companies, there are also physical for physical screening. They have psychologists they hire to screen the body language of that person they want to, what their postures or gestures convey, whether that person is confident enough to answer the question, whether he or she will fit in that role or not. So body language can play can have a very impact on how you're delivering your message. Now, what are some positive body language, just like leaning in, your open arms? It will convey that you are very confident. But we have different negative body language, just like crossed arms. If you remember that in this picture, in this one, this person have crossed arms. Now, you might notice that this person is looking uh, that this person have a low confidence because the arms are crossed. So through body language, we can identify the other's person personality. So that's why body language is very important for your successful business communication. So you should not have cross arms, or you should not slouching, or you must have open arms. Your standing position should be in such a way that shows that you are very confident. So you might notice we have different sales representatives that use open and confident body for pitching a product to convey the trustworthiness. So to gain your trust, they have a such tone or pitch in their voice to convey that just to gain your trust, they talk in such a confident way that this product is very good and you must buy that product. Then after the body language, we have the facial expressions that plays a very important. They also convey your personality. Like smiling, for instance, can show the friendliness of yourself. If there are frowns, it may indicate that you are confused. So if your HR manager give a positive feedback to you, if you are an employee with genuine smile, it enhances the message with that he is very happy with your work, then you might be satisfied with it. But if the tone is harsh, it might indicate that you have done something wrong. So this is how, or if there are frowns, then it also indicates that you have done something wrong, or that HR manager is displeased with your work. So through facial expressions, for a good communication, business communication, your facial expression should be, there should be a slight smile on your face. You should be confident enough. Or if we talk about the body language, you should start with open arms, your back straight. That will convey that you have a good confidence, and then the tone of your voice is very important. Means how the words are spoken. If you are speaking with a shaky voice, like what I am saying or like that shaky voice, it will indicate that you are confused, you your confidence level is low. But if you speak with a good tone, with a good pitch, then it will indicate that you are very confident, you have studied about the topic, and you can easily convey that message. So the tone of your voice is very important.